let's start off with Ed Gainey on the 6, which is the unfortunate reality, but that's a tough one.
Yeah, Ed's been a good player for a long time. He and I have been together quite some time. It hurt him because he understands, the reality of getting older and these types of things happening. But now, he can become a coach for us, for a few months and just see, what he can take from his brain and put it in some of these young guys.
Is there a chance he could come back by season's end, or do we know that?
We'll see. I mean, they always give you timelines, and sometimes, the players beat the timeline, sometimes they don't. So it's been my experience just to kind of let him naturally heal and just see where we're at.
You speak about now a young secondary to begin with gets younger now.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've done it before, though. I mean, we've had young secondaries in Calgary and won the Grey Cup. We've had young secondaries in Toronto and won the Grey Cup. So it's not something that we're unaccustomed to.
Tell me about the offense, and that's the big story, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the big story. I mean, we've got to get, we've got to call a better game. We've got to go out and execute at a high level. When you have, 5 or 6 drops and you have a couple penalties, it kills a drive, and then you have people open and you throw the ball errantly. I mean, you have to stay on the field. I mean, that's what we get paid to do, is to coach and to play professional offense. And we certainly had our opportunities. We had the ball across their midfield stripe there, I mean, a few times, and then shot ourselves in the foot. And I elected to punt rather than attempt, extra long field goals. And we've got to stay on the field. The two fumbles really hurt us. I mean, Ed made the great play and then put the ball on the ground at the 22 or 25 yard line, and then because those are immediate points, and then you turn around and we had the ball in our own or in their end on the 37. I think KB fumbled the football. He's got to put the football up, protect the football, because again, there's 3 more points at least, and so if it's 9-6 at halftime coming out, it could be a different game.
That's the thing, and you mentioned it. You won the field position battle pretty much for the majority of the game. That should work in any football team's favor.
Yeah, again, Taylor knows he's got to play better. Everybody wants to jump on Taylor, and certainly he hasn't played good football in both games. I mean, he's got to find what he was doing the first 2 weeks of practice, because he was as hot as I've ever seen a guy the first 2 weeks of practice. Now he's got to get back to that.
Yeah. Can you expand on that, about trying to restore the confidence with Taylor? Because you mentioned that after the game, it's up to us to do that. Is it just the case of you need to find what works with Taylor the most, what he's comfortable with, and just call those plays?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you come in, you put all your base stuff in, and if that's what we have to do in order for him to walk on the field and feel confident and make the throws that he was making early on, because we had a good secondary then, and he was dicing us up, so in man and zone, and so that's what we've got to get back to in order to, like I say, him walk out on the field and feel confident.
Because I know the focus has been on offense, but you have to be pleasantly happy with what you guys have been doing on defense out of the gates. I mean, you're allowing 1 touchdown against each game here. I'm sure they're on the field for a lot longer than you would have liked, but what do you see from that side?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you are correct. I mean, we gave up a touchdown there in the SAS game, and then the other night, analytically, I should have probably given up the point rather than trying to be overly aggressive, and so I should have took the point, which would have put us at 13, and we wouldn't have been in a short field. So we gave them a short field, and again, it ended up resulting in their first touchdown. I'm proud of the way they come out and they compete. 2 things is we need to play better in the second half. Both times, in the SAS game there with 4:20 left with a timeout, we've got to close the door right there, get the ball back, and have a chance to win the game. We didn't do that. And then the other night, they had 2 long drives. Again, it's been my experience that after that, 60 play mark or 55 play mark, you can almost say that they're going to have about 100 yards after that, so you get to that 72, 75 mark in number of plays, and they're going to have that extra 100 to 120 yards.
Are you concerned at that point with injury due to fatigue? I mean,
no, there's no doubt. I mean, the more you put them out there and the more that they have to play, we would like to play somewhere around that 50 to 55 mark defensively. If we can play as hard as we can play for 50, 55 plays, it's kind of what we train for. And then you just got to gut it out when you get in those games when it gets up in the 60s or 70s.
I'm sure you've seen, or by agreement, you'd say you've seen Jake Julien way too much in 2 games. However, has he come as advertised? Because like you said, we're going to use his hang time. I know he's taken a couple illegal punts, but is it what you thought it was going to be with Jake?
Well, he certainly has great control of the ball. I mean, he'll tell you too. I mean, we got to get better height, because when we can get a 4.3 to 4.5 hang, we can almost ensure that we're going to get a certain return, because we're going to get a good group of people down there, and that's all we really have asked him to do so far. The other night we asked him to angle a couple of times. He did an awful good job. I thought both balls landed at the 13, slightly off of the sideline, and somehow they said we were outside the 15 both times, which I've got to get clarification from the league, exactly, how that's governed. But two pretty good kicks for the first 2 directionals of the year.
And is that Aussie rule style, what he's doing there with the
it kind of is. He turns that ball a certain way. He can do some pretty amazing things with the football.
Chris,
mood, atmosphere, performance. Did you see what you wanted to see today as everybody came back?
Well, today's get the bad taste out of your mouth. When you don't score a point and they beat you soundly, and we competed early, until the turnovers and that type thing, and it's a get the taste out of your mouth day, and that's kind of what we using today for.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks, Chris.